Thank you all for being here. And this time, we did have the correct public notification, correct, Ms. Brown? Thank you very much. I do note that there is a quorum. So at this time, I believe we need to have our swearing in ceremony.
We'll turn over to Mr. Fisco. All right. Good evening. Good evening.
How's everybody?
Left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. I,
Joe Seymour,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I am duly qualified,
that I'm duly qualified,
according to the Constitution of this state,
according to the Constitution of this state,
to exercise the duties of the office
to exercise the duties of the office
to which I have been elected,
to which I have been elected.
and that I will, to the best of my ability,
I will, to the best of my ability,
discharge the duties thereof,
discharge the duties thereof,
and protect and defend
and protect and defend
the Constitution of this state
the Constitution of this state
and of the United States.
and of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, Mr. Stevens.
Thank you.
Good to have you on board. We're back to full strength. All right. At this time, Chair would entertain a motion to enter executive session. I think the only thing we have is personnel. Is that correct? That appears to be the only thing. Okay.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion we enter executive session with personnel matters.
Second.
It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, second by Pastor Jackson to enter executive session to discuss personnel matters. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 7-0. All right, we go into executive session not to exceed 6:30. Chair, entertain a motion to exit executive session.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
make a motion, we exit executive session.
Chair, I second.
Thank you, sir. It's been a motion by Ms. Harrison, second by Pastor Jackson to exit executive session. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 7-0. Thank you. Again, welcome. Thank you all for coming out this evening. And at this time, we will move on to the Pledge of Allegiance and moments of silence.
Let us all stand. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
moment of silence. Thank you.
All right, this time we're looking at the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion regarding the agenda?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we approve the agenda.
Thank you, ma'am. Is there a second?
I second that, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Miller to approve the agenda. Any discussion on that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
I had requested for an update on the Teachers Village,
Yes, ma'am.
and we had denied it because you said it wasn't in there early enough.
Yes, ma'am.
It was like 2:15 and it wasn't put out till like 7, so why wasn't it early enough?
Because we publish it on Friday afternoon, and you sent it on Friday afternoon.
So, what time is it published?
I don't know exactly what time it was published, but it is put together by Friday afternoon. So
What'd you say?
typically, Dr. Green and I meet to discuss the agenda the Tuesday before the meeting. And of course, some things get added on after that. But by the time it's Friday afternoon, it's a little too late to add stuff on so we can get it into the public notice.
Well, we do have a section, which is what I wrote back to you, and in response to it is, under Dr. Green's, it states that, he, has updates and doesn't specify what updates, so why can't it be brought up in that time period?
It's his prerogative to discuss that if he wishes to. Of course, it's your prerogative as a board member to ask him any direct question you want to ask him, so. Inside or outside the meeting.
These are problems that a lot of districts are having, and not getting, things done as far as the board working together to have things on the agenda. And, if it continues, to have issues like that, then might be, I have to talk to Molly Spearman about situations like that.
Ms. Hartman, you can talk to whoever you want to talk to, but you're the one who complained for the last 7 years that the agenda comes out on Friday afternoon. So I think of all people, you'd be the one that would be disappointed if I amended the agenda on Friday afternoon.
Well, like I said, I asked you what time it was put in, but like I said, why can't it be brought up since it doesn't specify that Dr. Green's number 1, to be discussed?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
point of order, just wanted to, the audience to know what we're starting to say. But when was our last meeting? A month ago. And we had 30 days to put to order, if you want something. So we waited till 28 days and sent it in. That's not reasonable. That's all I'm saying. It's not reasonable. I agree with the sheriff. Now, if you sent it in last week, a week ago, then you can put it on the agenda. But the last minute, I have been on the board, I've been on here 12 years, and I remember that they were just, the staff was just tied up, just doing things for the board. I'm not saying that Ms. Hartman has a right to get her question answered, but it's in a reasonable time, Mr. Chair, and I agree with you. That's all I want to say.
Can I clarify, my response was, even though it wasn't timely for this meeting, it is something we could consider for the next meeting.
Yes, I understand that, and I understand that it was late. I hadn't been feeling well lately, but I thought that was something Dr. Green loved to talk about, was this Teachers Village, so.
Well, and he may wish to address it. I don't know.
He talks all around the county about it, so why not address forward with it?
All right. Thank you. those in favor of approving the agenda indicate by raising your right hand. Pastor Jackson was walking in the door. We'll hold that a second. I'll call the vote again. Sorry, sir. Okay. All right, that is 6 in favor of approval. Negatives? 1 negative. Thank you, ma'am. All right. Do we have any public comment?
Yes, we do. We have 2, Mr. Benjamin Clowney and Tawana Simpson. Mr. Benjamin Clowney is first. You have 5 minutes.
Do I come up front or
Yes.
just come right here? Thank you, board members. I'm Benjamin Clowney. I'm in District 2, and I've just had a couple questions again about the teacher village. Just trying to find out some concerns about it, because my family does own the adjoining land next to the school back here. So that's one of the reasons I have a vested interest in that. Just still wondering about, I've talked to different people and different things, about were there any bids taken for this, or we just got the one builder that says he's gonna come in and do it, or?
We can't respond to questions from.
Okay, but I can
But you
propose them,
yes,
correct? Okay,
absolutely.
that's all I'm trying to do
Absolutely.
right now.
Absolutely.
And one of the other things was, can the other schools in the district, would their teachers be allowed to use this? If it's a teacher village, like the Barclay School, the STEM School, Richard Wynn, is this open to everybody? Or is it just for Fairfield County School District employees and teachers? And then, I have another concern that, we've got a lot of teachers in this county that don't teach here that we've lost. We've got a high turnover, I think. Just what can we do to keep that from happening? Because I know a lot of my friends and people that do travel out of the county to teach at other schools. And that's a concern, me moving back to this county. And then I guess the other thing with the $300 thing that's coming in from the state or whatever, is that just for the teacher village, or does that go to the teachers that are renting from other places? Can they apply that to them and help out those teachers also? Or is it specifically for the teacher village? And that's just some questions and concerns that I had right now, that I just wanted to bring up with this, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Tawana Simpson.
Fairfield County School Board, Trustee, Superintendent Dr. Green, how are you tonight? I'm Tawana Simpson, proud mother of Chris Shayla Ward, who is a junior and member of the STEM Early College Academy 3 at Fairfield Central High School. I stand here with a parent from the cohort, as well as parents who could not be here tonight. Our children have an amazing opportunity to go study abroad and visit London, Paris, with a total of $4,070. We understand that as parents, it is our responsibility funding this trip for our students, and we have been working hard to do just that. We come to you now to ask for your support to help with making this trip a reality for our scholars. We are asking the board to support us with granting $1,000 per student for the trip, for the cost of the trip, $1,000 would assist 14 families who will continue to make payments and fundraising to make this experience available for our students. I thank you in advance and your consideration. Thank you.
That's it.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Recognitions and presentations.
Good afternoon. We're here tonight to recognize some of the schools, the schools and the departments that participated in the United Way campaign 2018-2019 school year. And we also have 2 representatives from the United Way that assisted us with this this year. I have certificates for each school and department, and the United Way also has some certificates and awards that they would like to present on tonight. As I call the school's name or department, will someone please come to get it, please? Transportation, Giger Elementary, the Maintenance Department, the District Office, McCord Liston, Gordon Odyssey, Fairfield Magnet, Fairfield Central, Fairfield Middle School, Kelly Miller, Fairfield Elementary, and Fairfield Career Center. And at this time, Mr. Markle and Ms. Oslin will present their certificates and awards. Again, thank you for all of your hard work and dedication.
Yeah, we can just jump in the picture. That's great.
And then we'll do ours afterwards.
Dr. Green, Chairman Frick, members of the board, thank you very much for agreeing to have us on your agenda this evening. I'm here out of gratitude to the Fairfield County School District and its employees, and I want to share with you all what a successful campaign you all ran this year on behalf of the United Way and members of the Midlands community. And this year, the Fairfield County School District employees contributed over $14,000 to the United Way. And that was a whopping 12% increase. Usually our increases are like 2 and 3%. So a 14% increase is something to be very, very proud of. You obviously care deeply about the members of your community. Special thank you to Dr. Green and the administration for their support. And I think Jennifer, thank you, Michelle Pringle, and to Sheila, who we met a little bit earlier tonight. Without volunteers like you all to make it happen, you know, the United Way campaigns don't run within each of the organizations that run campaigns throughout the counties. So an extra thank you to you all for undertaking that. We're very proud of the partnership with Fairfield County Schools. We know that you know, it takes a village. You all talk about that every day in your classrooms and with the parents that you meet, and you're part of that village. And the United Way of the Midlands, what are we here for? We are the safety net of the community. We provide a safety net to the community. And we focus on health, which helps out the uninsured and the underinsured in the community. We focus on financial stability and emergency services for those experiencing financial crises, and educational success. And obviously you all are a big part of ensuring that we have educational success in the Midlands. Last year, just to tell you a few highlights about what we did with the funds that were raised throughout the Midlands community. And by the way, we are just wrapping up our campaign, and we are just nipping at a $9.9 million goal. Well,
Yes, we're sitting at about 9.87. That's almost 9.9, and that was our goal for the year, and we're knocking on the door of it. As it pertains to the Fairfield County, we were last year, and that's not with this campaign here that we're just wrapping up, but last year's campaign, we were able to invest about $360,000 into programs that directly impacted children and families in this district. And I'm sorry to be reading from this, but we have 200 campaigns that run throughout the Midlands, and so keeping a handle on all the programs and things that benefits, I do have to read from a cheat sheet here. So the programs that the $360,000 went towards programs that focus on children attaining educational success through literacy. So from preparing 4K children for kindergarten through our Countdown to Kindergarten initiative, and to making sure that K-2 grade students were reading on grade level through programs facilitated by the United Way's Midlands Reading Consortium, Boys and Girls Clubs, and Reach Out and Read. So through these programs, we touched hundreds of lives in Fairfield County. And we are proud to partner with you all on this. We're grateful for you all to make this happen. And we really can't thank you enough for choosing to invest your time, talent, and treasure in the work of the United Way. And I'd like to thank each and every school in the Fairfield County School District for supporting the United Way community. And we'll go ahead and jump right here into some more certificates and awards. And I'll start with the participation certificates. They go out to Fairfield Career and Technology Center, Fairfield Central High School, Fairfield Elementary School, Fairfield Magnet, Fairfield Middle School, and I think I heard someone say Geiger. I was going to say Geiger. Geiger Elementary, Gordon Odyssey Academy, Kelly Miller Elementary, McCrory Liston School of Tech, Maintenance, District Office, and Transportation. And sort of now the Grand Poobah Awards, I guess. The top campaigns by category. The best department was Fairfield County School District Office, raising $2,016. This was led by Superintendent Dr. Green and Coordinator Jennifer Etheridge and Michelle Pringle. On top of that, there was a bronze award from the United Way of the Midlands for per capita. It's a per capita award. So thank you for that. The best high school was Fairfield Central High School, raising $1,593. And that was led by Tracy Swilley and campaign coordinator Krishanda Kennedy Baker. And the best middle school was Fairfield Middle, raising $1,303. Thank you to Principal Harris and Rashana Warren and Lauren Darnell as campaign coordinators. And now, the grand finale. The best elementary school, and not just the best elementary school, the best overall campaign for Fairfield County was Fairfield Elementary School, raising $5,858. That was over 40% of the district's campaign. Talk about being rock stars. I don't know. Y'all should get in competition with them, everyone else. And so thank you to all of you. A special thank you to Principal Tammy Martin and campaign coordinators L'Oreal Nelms and Dr. Cheryl Stover for their excellent work at Fairfield Elementary School to make this happen. A heartfelt thank you.
I just have one thing. Just want to let you all know that Fairfield Elementary was the top school campaign in the entire Midlands, over 12 schools. So, that's something to be very proud of.
You didn't tell me that, stupid. That's huge. That is Thank you, Dr. Green. Dr. Green serves on our board also, and we are grateful for his support and leadership. Get familiar with the face Christian Markle. This was his first campaign working with the United Way of the Midlands. He's in charge of running all the school district campaigns, and you couldn't have a better coordinator from our side of things to make it happen. So get to know him, get his phone number, get his email, and he'll be happy to come out and whenever you need us to. Thank you very much for the time.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. All right, Board of Trustees members, Dr. Green, Fairfield family. This evening, I wanted to recognize our students and our sponsor who participated in the National Amazing Shake competition. So many of you are probably wondering, what is the Amazing Shake? The Amazing Shake assesses a student's ability to maintain their professional composure in real-world situations, such as, do they maintain eye contact during conversations? Do they know how to introduce themselves? And more importantly, do they know how to give a proper handshake? We had our own school competition on January 22nd, and students tested their competency in the following categories: giving a toast, firing someone, doing an infomercial, setting a table, and giving an interview. The Fairfield County Chamber of Commerce, along with True Vista Corporation, served as judges for the competition. We had 11 school competitors, and 4 of those went on to the national competition, which was held at Ron Clark Academy. And those students were Micaiah Jennings, step forward, Micaiah. Kylie Page Gilbert, she's absent. She's actually performing at the orchestra concert at the high school tonight. Malachi Woodard. And Christian Nathaniel. At the National Amazing Shake competition, there were 266 students from 21 states and 2 countries. Our students participated in round 1, aptly named the Gauntlet, which was a maze of 31 stations to include delivering a commercial and monologue from memory, an interview on The Tonight Show, and explaining to a scientist why certain chemicals were important to science. Christian Nathaniel was named in the top 40 and advanced to round 2, known as the Circle of Doom. Here, he was asked deeper level questions by several judges who he had to impress in 2 minutes or less. He also competed in the worker room, where he had to initiate conversations with businessmen and women and impress them with his conversational skills. The team screamed as Christian's name was announced in excitement, as he was named a top 20 contestant in the overall competition. Round 4 consisted of a group interview where Christian and another contestant answered even deeper level questions and had to share time in answering and impressing the judges. Christian was overwhelmed with gratitude as he and his co-contestant praised him and told him how proud he was of him to come this far for his first time competing. His co-competitor told Christian that he had been to the Amazing Shake competition several times, and this was his first time placing in the top 20. We are so proud of our students, and more importantly, they are proud of themselves. They learned so much about themselves and are ready to go back and compete next year. I also want to give a special shout out to the sponsor. This was her idea, Miss McElrath, who brought this idea to me during the summer. She shared the video that she saw on YouTube about the competition. I said, you know what, this is a great idea, and she's been working with these students since August of this year. So they went to nationals and did a fantastic job. So I felt like they needed to be recognized at a board meeting and let the community know about the great things they were doing.
Congratulations. for your hard work. Thank you, and thank you for representing our school district. Superintendent. I'm sorry.
Where you going?
See, I was testing you. See, I was testing you. You passed. All right. Board minutes. At this time, the chair will entertain a motion to approve the February 19, 2019 board meeting minutes.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion we accept the superintendent's recommendation to approve the board minutes from the February 19th regular call board meeting.
Chair.
Thanks, sir. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison. It's been seconded by Mr. Miller to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the board minutes, please indicate by raising your right hand. All right, that is, let's see if I can do math again. 5 of us, 2, 4, 5. In the negative? Abstentions? Thank you, ma'am. All right. Next, superintendent.
All right, Chairman, first member of the board. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you, if you've been watching WIS, WLTX, you had opportunity to read the Fairfield Post, then you saw where we had a Teacher of the Year finalist in Ms. Chandra Jefferson, who is a science teacher at Fairfield. It's important to recognize that the state of South Carolina only recognizes 5 finalists across the entire state. Those finalists receive a $10,000 check as a function of being finalists. And I'm not sure whether we've had a finalist in the past. I'm not able to find that anywhere. So we surely celebrate that. If she is fortunate enough to win the entire Teacher of the Year competition, she'll receive a $25,000 check and be provided the opportunity to use a BMW for 1 year. Now, the downside of Ms. Jefferson winning is she have to leave us for 1 year because she would serve as an ambassador for the whole institution of education in South Carolina. So she just be traveling around the state talking about education. And so as much as we are pulling for Ms. Jefferson to win, we're surely going to be sad that she have to leave for a year.
Is she going to take the lizard with her? Is she? Are we going to have to take care of the lizard? I just don't want to do that. Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, that is a example of the outstanding instruction we have going on here in Fairfield County. And so when people ask the question, rather you can receive an excellent education in the Fairfield County School District, look no further than these types of examples. Also, I want to bring your attention that the Kelly Miller addition is finally complete. The certificate of occupancy has been delivered. And so we're going to have a ribbon cutting for the Kelly Miller addition on Friday, this coming Friday, March 22nd at 1 o'clock. Okay. I'll tell you that they have already been in the building. They weren't going to wait on us to cut the ribbon because they waited so long to get there. But it is absolutely beautiful. I had opportunity to attend a STEAM day there on last week. Parents and students were extremely excited about the addition, and this completes our facility upgrades to remove all portables used for classroom instruction. Right. So we are no longer using portables for classroom instruction. We no longer have to ban having class on the stage while PD is going on in the gym. And these were things that, quite honestly, were an embarrassment for me as a superintendent because we were better than that. And so I am proud that we were able to get that done. Finally, let me say something to bring to the board's attention as relates to the request from the parents from STEM Cohort 3. They are requesting $14,000, which equates to $1,000 per person. As was stated earlier, these parents have been doing an outstanding job of paying money and raising money. The total cost of the trip is about $4,000. That means that these parents would have raised or paid $3,000 even if the board agrees to make a contribution. I want to bring to your attention that we have an account with about $50,000 remaining. that we identified specifically for STEM Early College Academy expenditures. And so I think that would be an ideal use of some of those funds that have already been budgeted for STEM Early College Academy expenditures. And so I present that to you for your consideration.
But we don't need a motion on that, correct? It's just, you're saying that we have a line item in the budget that is set for STEM to have such excursions, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so it's not an action item, it's just so you know that we can honor that request, and it is already budgeted. Anybody have?
Yeah, when is they have to make their final payment?
The trip is in April, May. And so, the trip is in May. My guess is the final payment has to be somewhere in April.
May 1st.
May 1st.
May 1st is the last, is the deadline.
All right, May 1st.
Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all coming early this year.
Chair Frick,
Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Green, you mentioned about the being the finalist for the teacher for the year.
Yes.
That how was the board notified when that Miss Molly Spearman was coming out,
Was the board notified that Ms. Molly Spearman was coming out?
coming over here to present that?
Yeah, so what I did is I sent an email out and I sent a text message out notifying the board that there would be a very special announcement at 1:30. That was under the instruction of State Superintendent of Education, Molly Spearman. She wanted it to be a total surprise, so no one knew about it. However, I did, and that's why I invited the board members to attend, so they could witness the presentation.
Well, I've looked through my emails and things, and I have not seen anything. So can you send me a copy of that I had received it? Because I don't think I did.
I sent an email to all board members and a text to all board members.
They're dated, right? I'd like to have a copy of it if you would send that, please. Because to my knowledge, I did not get notified.
All right, that's all I have. All right. Curriculum and instruction.
Good evening. For your approval is first reading is the 2019-20 academic calendar. A copy of the proposed calendar has been provided for you in board docs. Just a few of the highlights that are outlined on the calendar for the 19-20 academic school year. The first day of school will be on August the 19th. Inclement weather days, which by state regulation we must have 3 makeup days or inclement weather days outlined on the calendar, which are November 25th, February 17th, and April the 10th. Spring break is April the 10th through the 17th. Graduation will take place on June the 6th, 2020. And parent conferences, 2 days have been set aside, April the 2nd from 11 to 7, and October the 30th from 4 to 7. And the differing times will allow and offer some flexibility for parents as it relates to their work schedules. So you will notice that on April the 2nd, the parent conferences would take place from 11 to 7, and October the 30th from 4 to 7.
Well, I guess we probably need to get a motion on this. Is there a motion in regard to approving first reading of the 2019-20 academic calendar?
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion, we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve the reading of the 2019-2020 academic calendar.
Thank you. It's been a motion by Ms. Harrison. It's been second by Mr. Davis to approve first reading of the 2019-20 academic calendar. All discussion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
just, may I, to Dr.
Yes, sir.
Excuse me. For recording purposes and
Oh,
because
yes,
we're
ma'am.
live streaming?
You're absolutely right. I thought my mouth was big enough.
Yeah.
But evidently it's not.
Some of the people say they can't hear you on the recording, so please use your
They
mic.
can't hear you in Toccoa, Georgia, where they somehow show this. True Vista.
Can you hear me now?
Still can't hear me?
I guess. Can we hear me?
You understand?
Yeah.
And the green light is on.
It should be a red.
Okay, mine's not working. Now, okay. Dr. Avery. When we do these scheduling, just kind of inform me, are the teachers involved or administrators involved?
Yes.
How's that done?
The process involves a district committee, first develops the skeleton of the calendar, and then we have the teacher forum of the district, composed of the teacher of the year, representative from each school. We meet, they review the calendar, and they provide feedback. And then once the feedback is incorporated that they give me and the committee into the calendar, then that draft calendar is then sent out to principals, followed by school level personnel, transportation, maintenance, all of the departments, and they actually complete a survey. And a survey is done electronically, so it gives everyone an opportunity to provide feedback. And in turn, if you go to the website, the survey itself is posted on the website, so it gives the community stakeholders an opportunity also to review the calendar and also to provide feedback.
Thank you, Doc. I just want to make sure.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, well, I thought she picked up. I thought she picked up the microphone. Any further questions?
Can I back up, because I didn't realize Dr. Green was finished, to ask him a few questions or address it to you, either way?
What you want to ask, Ms. Harper?
Has the property changed hands from the district office to the foundation
No, it has
for
not.
that 22 acres?
No, it has not. Transfer has not occurred.
Any particular reason?
No particular reason. We just haven't made a transfer.
How much have we spent as far as the district on this project?
Minimal amount, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
I thought the only thing that we had approved that we were going to do was the changing the foundation, as far as to form the foundation, excuse me.
As I said, a nominal amount, but I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
So what items are those?
Pardon me?
What items are
I
those?
couldn't tell you, Ms. Hoffman. I'll be happy.
Have we had any
report
legal
that.
fees on it?
On the property?
On anything that we've done for this project?
As I said, I'll be happy to report that when I have opportunity to do it.
So we do have fees that haven't been approved.
I've given you the same answer, Ms. Hoffman.
But it's a yes or a no.
I've given you the same answer.
So apparently we have.
Ms. Hartman, you've asked a question, he's answering.
Okay, also, is there a certain amount of funds that the foundations actually get raised for this project?
Pardon me?
Has the foundation raised any funds for this project?
The foundation has raised funds, but not for this project. This project is being funded by an investor.
So what have they raised funds for, if it's not for this project?
The foundation hopes to be able to do multiple things in the district. Give scholarships, fulfill teacher requests. The foundation's function is not limited to simply the Teacher Village project.
Well, I thought that was why we turned it over to the foundation, was for them to raise the funds to do this project.
That's not accurate.
Is there any other updates that you can give us?
No, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I believe we do have a motion on the floor that's been seconded. Any further questions on the academic calendar? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the first reading of the 2019-20 academic calendar indicate by raising your right hand. 6-0, excuse me. Finance and operation.
Good evening. In the board package, you have the first item, which is the finance report for board review for the month of February.
Any questions regarding the finance report for the month of February? Hearing none.
And item number 2 is a document which just details the timeline for the budget hearings for the 1920 fiscal year budget. This for board review.
Anybody have any questions on the timeline? All right, thank you.
Item number 3 is a facility usage request for McCrory-Liston School of Technology. And the superintendent recommends the board approve the facility usage request for McCrory-Liston School of Technology from the Blair Coalition of Churches and the Gethsemane Church and Sunday School Union.
Mr. Chair,
Any motion regarding that? Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we, let the, I want to make sure that
Teamwork.
Want to act or to accept the superintendent recommendation for facility usage for this McCrory-Liston School of Technology with the Gethsemane Bible School, as well as the what do we call it, the Coalition of Churches. Providing they get a second.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Mr. Miller. It has been seconded by Ms. Harrison to approve the facility usage agreement for the Blair Coalition of Churches and Gethsemane Church. Any discussion on that? Ms. Bratton is recognized.
I have a correction. It should say, well, we know with any facility usage coming to the board, they're requesting the waiver of fees. And I just noticed that I left that out.
I was going to ask, did this include a fee waiver as usually occurs? Is that? Well, does it include the fee waiver? Does the request include the fee waiver? Okay, it does. Okay, I just want to clarify that. Okay. Ms. Mill, do you want to amend your motion to include the fee waiver?
amend my motion. Mr. Chair, let me go back out there. Sir, my eyesight is pretty.
Recommend that the superintendent approve the facility request for McCrory-Liston School of Technology from the Blair Coalition of Churches from March 23rd with the Gethsemane Church of Sunday School June 23rd, and also fee waiver, providing they get a second.
Thanks, sir. Thank you. The motion has been amended and seconded to approve the facility usage agreement for McCrory-Liston for Blair Coalition Churches and Gethsemane Church, including fee waiver. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 6-0.
The second facility usage request for Fairfield Central High School. The superintendent recommends the board approve facility usage request for Fairfield Central High with waiver of fees for the G4S VC Summer Nuclear Station and Fairfield Electric Cooperative.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion that we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve the facility usage request for Fairfield Central High School with fee waivers for G4S VC Summer Nuclear Station and Fairfield Electric Cooperative. Providing I get a second.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, seconded by Mr. Davis to approve facility usage request for Fairfield Central High School, including fee waiver for Fairfield Electric Cooperative and G4S VC Summer Nuclear Station. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, all those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 6-0, thank you.
And the third request is for the use of Fairfield Middle School. And the superintendent recommends the board approve the facility usage request for Fairfield Middle School with waiver of fees for Fairfield Salkehatchie.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to accept the superintendent recommendation, facility approval, the usage for the Fairfield Middle School for is this the Salkehatchie? The week of, I think it's here, July, I think it's July the 13th through the 20th, yes. Providing a second.
Including fee waiver?
Including the fee waiver.
I thought that's what you said.
I second.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Mr. Miller, it's been seconded by Ms. Harrison to approve the facility usage request for Fairfield Middle School for Salkehatchie. Any discussion on that?
Yeah, Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
They normally use the high school as a reason why they're using the middle school.
Yeah, good question, Ms. Harrison. We're doing a new bleachers at the high school. We're having the floor redone. We're redoing the dance room. Well, what used to be the weight room will be the dance room. So lots of construction going on at high school this summer, and so we felt that may conflict with students.
Okay.
So,
And that's one of the questions I wanted to ask, and I'm glad you asked that question, Sarah. As well as Salkehatchie is so great to this community. They do so many things. They help so many people. And so we can, assist them and they stand in our facilities, our school facilities. Yeah, by all means, we want to do that.
Any further discussion on that? All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 6-0, thank you. I think we're at Human Resources.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. This evening for Human Resources, item 1, certified terminations and resignations. In exhibits 1A and 1B, the superintendent recommends board approval for certified recommendations and terminations of certified staff.
Thank you, ma'am. I don't see any reason why we can't do these at one, if y'all would like to.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve resignation termination for certified staff members at the conclusion of academic year 2018-19 and Exhibit 1A and Exhibit 1B.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, it's been seconded by Mr. Davis to approve certified resignations and terminations at the conclusion of this academic school year. That's why we're not asking for a suitable replacement in Exhibit 1A and 1B. Of course, it's personnel, so we can't have a discussion on this. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 6-0, thank you.
Next for your approval is item 2, certified administrative recommendations, where the superintendent recommends the board approve certified administrators for academic year 2019-20. This is presented to you in Exhibit 2.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I make a motion we accept the superintendent recommendation to approve certified administrators for the academic year 2019-20, Exhibit 2.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Ms. Harrison, it's been seconded by Mr. Davis to approve certified administrative recommendations for the 2019-2020 school year. Again, this personnel, so no discussion. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 6-0. Thank you.
And lastly, item 3, certified recommendations, where the superintendent recommends board approve professional certified teachers for academic year 2019-20. This is presented to you in Exhibit 3.
Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'd like to ask that we accept the superintendent recommendation of board professional certified teachers for the academic year 2019-2020. Providing a second.
A second.
Thank you. It's been motioned by Mr. Miller, it's been seconded by Ms. Harrison to approve certified recommendations for the 2019-2020 school year. Again, personnel, so no discussion. All those in favor indicate by raising your right hand. 6-0. Thank you. All right, it's down to me. First and foremost, everybody filed their ethics form. If you hadn't, you got a couple more weeks to do it. Hurry up and do it.
It's not even 2 weeks, is it?
I don't know. It's getting close. If you ain't done it, go home and do it. All right. And then, of course, I think Ms. Brown emailed us again today about the intergovernmental meeting that is coming up on the 26th. So if you're going to attend, please respond as soon as possible. I'm going to skip over that number 2. We'll get back to that in just a second. I'm going to go to number 3, policy revisions. This isn't really an action item. This is something I've talked about a little bit. I just want to get the board's opinion on it. Of course, we talked about it a little bit at, I think, the previous meeting. As you're aware, we've gotten a number of requests to name existing buildings and structures after folks. And our policy really is for new structures. We've kind of used that policy to talk about these requests. But in some research I've done, neighboring districts, they have a specific policy or specific policies regarding these existing structures. For example, they require that the structure be named after a person who is no longer living. Of course, we've had some things that got named for folks throughout the state, and then they ran into a little bit of difficulty in their later years, and then there's been some controversy about whether it should still be named for them or not. So I think that's something we should possibly think about going forward. Also, what a number of districts that I have done, the folks making the request actually have to come up with the funding for the signage and whatever's required to fulfill that request. I would tell you quite frankly, I think that would probably cut down on the number of requests. But that is something that is in other neighboring districts' policies. So I kind of wanted to just briefly discuss that with y'all and see if that's kind of a direction you wanted to go. I don't have a proposal here today, but would be glad to have one on the agenda for the next board meeting if y'all would like to go in that direction, proceed where we are, just trying to figure out what direction y'all want to go on that. Ms. Hartman.
The thought is on that line, as far as renaming, sometimes it might be upset some families because you changed it. So you're running into two situations, you know, when you're changing something versus a new structure, like you said. So I consider everybody to think about that.
I agree with that too, and I think we've been forcing it where that hadn't really been an issue because nothing's been named, but I think it's a matter of time, quite frankly. So it sounds like y'all would like to see a proposal at the next meeting. I'll put together something and have it in board docs for us to review for that time. And if anybody has any suggestions, please feel free to email me and let me know. I think the other part I had under there was a facility usage contract. Dr. Green and I have had some discussion about coming up with a long-term agreement. I think those conversations are still occurring. I think he's discussed it with our council as far as what we should and shouldn't do on that. So no real report on that at this time, but just wanted to let you know that we are looking at that as we've had some different groups who have wanted to use GOA in particular, but I mean, obviously we've got other properties that could be used. So just for your information, no action item on that, but something we're looking at. And I note that we have a discussion, if you would like to, about the latest annual conference that we went to. If anybody would like to share what they learned or their observations, I'd open up the floor to that.
There was one that, and I don't know whether it can be done here. I'd have to look up which county did it. I want to think Greenville, where they used some type of, getting, they also had grant money that they've gotten, or as far as money from, somewhere that they were able to get, I know we're having a problem getting Wi-Fi out to students in a lot of areas. And they were able to do this with a different time, a different way. And I don't really understand how they did it or any of that. So I suggest maybe for us I can look up where, and I'm sure all of us can, we have the information, how they did it, talk to them about it as a possibility. It sounds like it was a great opportunity for them, and they're actually making money on it now. It's paying them back. So that's another thing that's a positive for it. I was real impressed. It was one of the last conferences I went to. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Yeah, I think we'd all agree that it's an issue throughout the state, particularly in our rural areas.
And that's a real area.
That they just don't have access to internet, so absolutely. Anybody have anything else along those lines?
Well, excuse me, I didn't mean to
No, but go ahead, because I wanted to talk about something I learned in Washington. You didn't ask me.
Absolutely. No, I was getting to it, Ms. Harris. I was going to let you talk about
Well,
it.
actually, they had the discussion on IDEA, and of course, we're still not getting our fully funded money. But one of the things I learned is that they are identifying some kids that has focusing problems. Not so much as special needs, but they are actually seeing that some kids actually have focusing problems. But because we're not getting all the funds that we need, we can't really help the kids that we need, because we only getting 15-18%, and they supposed to fund us at 40%, and we're still not getting the money that we need. And if we did, we could probably help more kids. So actually, my daughter actually tutored a child that actually had a focusing problem, and once she gave them exercises to do, his grades actually went up. And I think Dr. Green helped me with one of them too. He had the same problem. So it is coming under that. They saying not all children will fall up under that, but some kids are being identified as them.
That's great.
just piggyback
Off from what Ms. Hartman had said, this thing,
Gotcha.
okay. In speaking to our representative, Ralph Norman, as well as Jim Clyburn, that broadband, it makes no sense that the federal government can't help us, and I did speak to him about it, and right now, the way they got things done in Washington, I would be looking at something what Greenville doing, because as far as federal dollars, they're not going to spend it on broadband, not right now.
All right. Anybody with anything further on that?
As far as the students for what Ms. Harrison was mentioning, the funds coming in, am I correct or not, that when they're identified, wouldn't we get more funds based on when the kids are identified, as far as disability and things, from the state and
You talking about federal funds?
whatever it comes from?
Is your question, Ms. Hartman, are we funded based on the number of students that are identified?
Yes, sir.
The answer is yes.
So we would get more funds, which is what I was thinking.
Yeah.
If the students are identified, and therefore the more we have identified to help.
Yeah, but I think the point Ms. Harrison was making is that there are students who could benefit from services who traditionally would not qualify based on our current identification methods.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
I
and
didn't
so
understand that. Okay.
they might not qualify based on what we have historically determined as students who would qualify for exceptional needs services, but they can benefit from services. Am I correct, Ms. Harrison? Okay.
Okay. I misunderstood. Thank you.
All right. Anybody else on that? Yes, sir, Mr. Davis.
Well, Chairman Frigg, I did learn at the last meeting about the takeover of what puts you at risk for the superintendent to actually taking over your schools and stuff. And it was very interesting by the number of students and some of the things that can have like boards not agreeing, having conflicts and stuff like that, that it can be involved in taking over your school district.
Thank you, sir. I would just like to quickly address, I always enjoy going to the conference because it reminds me of how we are fortunate here in Fairfield County. Whether folks understand it or not, the nuclear plant in Jenkinsville is about half of our revenue. Without that, we would be in very, very bad shape. We could not offer the services that we offer. We could not do such things as allow our students to go on trips. The reason we're able to do that is because we have a good partner down there who is now in a good, stable situation. I was invited to go down to the State House. The School Board Association had a conference, I believe, last week, and they were interested in our bonuses that we are providing, and they allowed me to come down. I assure you I did not embarrass us. I used my napkin and my fork. So, Ms. Harrison, you've been proud of me. She always makes sure I don't do these things. But then I realized as I was talking, because they want to know, how are you doing this? And of course, we're able to do it because we have the finances to be able to do it. And I realized my talk boiled down to have a nuclear plant. And I felt like I was bragging a bit, and you know, one of the board members, I think it was from Dorchester too, kind of picked on me a little bit. Even got a little derision from Fort Mill from our ability to do such things. But just want to let you know that, you know, sometimes I don't think folks get how fortunate we are in Fairfield. Obviously, our community, our folks, we're not a wealthy community. I mean, we have a huge number of children who would qualify for free lunch, which is why the federal government allows us to provide food for everyone. But for that facility, we wouldn't be able to do it. And so I'm glad that we are able to do it. And I'm reminded of that and how fortunate we truly are in this county, in this school district. Every time I go to those conferences. So, once again, they reminded me of it.
Okay, one more thing, Mr. Chairman.
Yes?
I guess I would like to just welcome my brother, my brother Joe Stevens, the former principal, you know, and we just want to welcome him to this board. You know, he's going to do the right thing by the children. And, you know, I was just tickled to death that he decided to put his hand in the hat. So, throw his hat in the hand, or however you want to pronounce it. But we're glad to have you, brother.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Miller. And I'm quite sure, as I told the people at the high school paper, the board is already doing a fine job, and I hope I don't do anything to mess them up.
We are glad to have you. Welcome aboard.
Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
I just got two things. Dr. Green, I know we're doing a lot of capital improvement. Said they air conditioning unit, 20 years old. They say they hot in one place, cold in another.
So, Ms. Harrison, I appreciate you bringing that to my attention. We are doing some assessments of the facilities across the district. I've not heard that, so I'm not going to say that it is on our list, but I will follow up on that tomorrow because we want to ensure that we have our facilities that are at a very good place.
And then I'm finna have a proud mama moment. My daughter was accepted at Auburn University Veterinary School and Georgia University Veterinary School.
I did want to ask Dr. Green, you said you're going to bring the board a report. When would that be? On the Teachers Village? On the Teachers Village?
As soon as, you know, actually I think I may not be here next month.
Yeah, that's right. Let's talk about the next board meeting is going to be April 9th. Our superintendent has been invited to a very prestigious conference for which I believe they provided him a scholarship. So I don't think he will be in attendance with us. But we can certainly, as I said, if you want us to consider that for an agenda item, we can certainly go over that. And we can have the information you're looking for.
So the list I gave, we could have that for that board meeting?
I think he answered most of it this evening, but yes, ma'am, we can.
No, he didn't give any figures.
Okay.
So that'd be great if you could do that for the next board meeting. Thank you.
Anything further? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
Mr. Chair, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Mr. Chair, I second.
It's been motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.